So here we go again, ladies and germs. Never did get the video on the first time I got this. But this is a Dell Inspiron 530. Core 2 quad installed. It's a Q6600. We're going to do a little updating on this, because we're going to be doing a little bit of gaming on it. Woohoo! Found this in an estate sale for $40, which included the computer itself and I think it looks like a 17-inch monitor, which actually works fine, and all the parts on it, keyboard, mouse, powered speakers, everything. All good except for the keyboard. The keyboard was crap. But that's no big deal. I've got a spare. But we're basically going to get this upgraded. We're going to get fan of the heatsink off. We're going to get the CPU out of there and do a BSEL mod, BSEL mod. On these older chips on the LGA 775 socket. I think it's 775. If not, it's 755. I'm pretty sure it's 775. Once you get the CPU out, you see all the little gold pads on the bottom. One of the little pads, you can put, believe it or not, a piece of tape over it and reinstall it. And it will change the front side bus speed on this motherboard, which is not overclockable through BIOS. And get about at least a 25% upgrade in speed. The base gigahertz on the Q6600 is 2.4. And by raising the front side bus, you actually make it something like a 3 gigahertz processor with a quad core. Now that's pretty darn good for just a little piece of tape and some time. Not bad at all. We got some new RAM going in. Got all of our parts over here. We're going to upgrade this. It's got 4 gig in it now. We're going to upgrade it to 8. We've got a, let's see if I can get this out of the way. Got a Zotac GeForce GT 1030, which is not a bad choice, believe it or not. I know video cards are just insane right now. Anything above this, like the 1050, 1060, 1080, 1070, whatever, they're just ridiculous right now. 1050 Ti, cheapest you can get one right now is about $240. When I first priced this, it was about $80 or $90. I waited too long, ended up spending $114, which is still a heck of a lot better than $240. And it should do the job. Specs seem okay with it. Did a lot of research on this, tons and tons of research. Let me change out the CMOS batteries on this machine and my Lenovo, which is a Core 2 Duo. I'm going to try to use that for streaming. We'll see how that works. It's getting a RAM upgrade too and some cleaning. And a new battery. So there you go. We're going to get on this. I won't show you all the boring details, but we'll get into it. I'll give you some footage, so stand by. Okay, so we got the cooling fan loose, and we got our nice big aluminum cooling block here. Not too dirty. Not horrible, but hey, it's due. Paste doesn't look bad. It's a little dried out. Not bad for 10 plus years. There's enough paste on the CPU down there. Get some dirt off of that. We're going to take her outside and get the compressed air on it and blow it out and get all the dirt out of here. And then we're going to clean it up. More coming. Here we go. All blasted clean. Get all the dirt out of here. All the dust bunnies and stuff. Not a thing left in it. Important thing to remember when you're doing this, make sure you put something through to keep the fan from turning. That's both the cooler fan and the fan in the power supply. Because when these things turn, they actually act like generators, and you don't want to backfeed voltage or current into your motherboard. It tends to blow things up. You don't want to do that. So I just put a finger on here just to keep it from turning, blew it off. Kept a finger on it. Put a little screwdriver down in there. Yeah, this one. Just like this, just to keep the blades from turning. and then put air in the back of the power supply. Of course, you can take the power supply out with these 4 bolts, and you can take the cover off of this and blow it on the inside, but this was actually a pretty clean machine to begin with. Not a lot of dirt came out of it, but it is better than it was. So there we go. Now we're going to start cleaning up the CPU here. Onwards and upwards. There we go. One nice clean CPU. Got all the paste off it. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but it's as close as I can get you. If I can get this in here for you or not. There we go. It's verified. It's actually the Q6600 in here. So that's a good deal. One thing about these Inspirons, 530s, 531s. This board is made by Foxconn. There's some debate as to how much RAM these things will take and what type. It is DDR2, that's for sure. But if you look right there, right here, there's a number, DG33M03. There's an O2 board. The O2 board is actually limited to 4 gigabytes of RAM. The O3 board will actually take up to 8. So it's kind of important if you're trying to repurpose these things. If 4 gigs of RAM is going to do the job for you, just putting together a surfing machine or some very light gaming, older games and such, optimize things, okay, fine. My plan actually is to try to play PUBG on this machine, believe it or not. And again, from all the research I've done, and I've done a ton of it, it's been optimized pretty darn well, and I think this quad core is going to take care of it, especially once I get it up to 3 gigahertz. And I've got 8 gigs of RAM going into this, 800 megahertz. The original base on this was 667 megahertz, so that's going to help it out too. It will take RAM up to 1066. So will the O2 board. So you could go further. It was a cost consideration for me because, again, RAM prices right now are crazy. But that's what we're going to do. So there you go, nice and clean. I'm going to change that CMOS battery out next. And then see about the RAM. More coming. Okay, so we got the battery changed out. Not too hard at all. There's just a little tab that you press back. Oh, by the way, got my anti-static wrist strap here just to make sure I don't fry anything. I know there's some pros on YouTube that say they never use it, and I'm not sure I believe it. Better safe than sorry. It's $2. What the heck? So we're going to see about getting this CPU out of here. Now they say, take this little lever here and push it down. Bring it over to the side. There we go. Opens up. Hit this little tab in the back to flip this up. And there's the CPU. Now we're going to take that out, and I'll show you what comes next. Okay, so here's what we got. Excuse me. We got their heatsink nice and cleaned off. Get all the old paste off of here. Which, by the way, I do have new Arctic Silver MX2 ready to go in. Keep everything nice and cool. Got our CPU. Now, again, more research. Did tons of research. This should take only taping over 1 pad on the back of this. Make sure... Oh, sorry I dropped you. Sorry about that. Make sure you got your anti-static on when you're handling these things because you don't want to blow them up. So, here's a CPU. There's 2 little notches here. Turn it over. There's all the little gold pads. You see right here in the middle? See how it looks like a T? At the base of this T on this side, the base of the T side I should say, not at the base. The base of the T side, right near this slot, that first little gold pad, you cover up with a little piece of tape. Yeah, these are really, really small. So I went to do a little crafting here, get this thing in here. That could take some time. I'm not going to subject you to that. I will do my crafting and show you the results once I get it done. Alright? So hang on. Okay, so that's about the best I can do. This stuff is just so tiny. Here's your standard toothpick. You can see the size. Wow. So there you go. I got that one pad covered. Had to bust out the old jeweler's loop. But as near as I can tell, it's not interfering with the other pads, and that one pad is covered. And as long as this drops back in there and clamps down nice, shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to get her back in. Alrighty then, got all that back together. Found out that probably shouldn't take these screws out because that holds the aluminum block to this fan case. Makes it a little easier to install if you got the block installed in the case. There's 4 screws in the corner. They're really fine thread, and you need to push down on this just a little bit and just easy turn to the right to get it to start to thread. Once you get them going, just bottom them out. Don't crank down on them. You will crack your motherboard if you do. I knew that. Thank God I avoided that. So just got to get the power hook back up down here and then move on to the video card. Instructions. Installation disc. Low profile insert. There we go. Get this up out of here. Not a bad looking little unit. Okay, so let's hang it up. Well, it couldn't be as simple as that, could it? Wow, it just clicked right into place. That's awesome. Wow. Okay. Interesting. dead simple. It's not moving. Too easy. Man, you computer techs are way overpaid. Okay. Okay, so next is the RAM. Here's our RAM sticks that are already in. Little tabs we gotta pull back to release them. Here's my new ones. Should be a matter of just swapping them out. We'll see how it goes. Ooh-wee. There we go. 8 gigs of RAM, 800 megahertz. Here's the old stuff that was in it. It's not marked Dell. Not sure what they were doing with this. This thing might have come with 2 gigs original and maybe they replaced them. But it looks like a Nymix, I don't know what the hell this name is. Nanya. None your business. Anyway, 1 gig times 8 PC2 5300U555. It was reading in BIOS as 667 megahertz. This stuff in here is supposed to be 800 megahertz, so it should help. Kind of freaked out about the notch position. It didn't look right. The colors of it was just throwing me off. This stuff is green, that's blue. Old male, colorblind, makes everything look weird and different. But the notch is actually the same. It is DDR2. DDR2 and DDR3 are not swappable on the same motherboard. But they're in there. The notches line up. They're seated. That's that. Should have done that before I put the card in, because this one little clip down here was a little hard to get to. But got her done. Didn't hurt anything. And I think that's about it for hardware. Just a matter of packing it back up and getting her booted and making sure everything works. So, I don't know if I'm going to add on to this video or go with the next one, but I'm going to be doing the Lenovo. May not get to it till tomorrow, so we'll see. Thanks for hanging out and watching, guys. Appreciate it. I'll let you know how this works on gaming later. See you next time.